Good morning, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I should probably give me a second. Let me go live on Instagram before I start. Uh, that. Okay. Yay! Welcome to another edition or another episode of Fix It Finance Live. Um, we're going to be rebranding soon to Ask Kyle, but that's not for today. Anyways, thank you for joining us. If you are new here, my name is Fikayo Usman. I go live every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern. And, we discuss all things personal finance. I share insights, wisdom, what to do, when to do it, how to do it. So if you're new here, welcome to Fix It Finance, where I help you take control of your money and build a life that you want. Remember to like, share, and subscribe if you're new. If you know anybody that's going to benefit from this, please share it. Today we have a really good one. We're discussing how to budget as a couple. So you don't want to miss this, especially if you are currently a couple or you are planning to couple. Okay. Okay. Don't forget to hit the notification bell if you're on YouTube so you can be the first to know when I have new videos. Like I mentioned, if you're new, I go live every Saturday. Forgive me, I am recovering from I didn't know what I'm recovering from, but sharp cough and all the others. Um if you're new on YouTube, we always and even on Instagram, we take comments and ask questions, sorry. So if you have questions, comments, I'll put it in the chat and then we'll take it from there. Um so again, I think I've already said this before. I go live every Saturday at 12. So 12 p.m. Eastern. Join us every Saturday and you won't forget it. Okay. Today we're talking about budgeting as a couple. Yay! You have to get on the same page and make the most of your partnership when it comes to your financial journey. Okay. So I thank God for, the person I married. Um God has really helped us and taught us a lot of things when it comes to budgeting and just personal finance in general. So I'm going to be sharing a few of the things we've learned along the way as we started our journey. When we started paying off our debt, started, doing this entire financial plan like we talk about here on Secret Finance. So we're going to be talking today about some of the things you should do now. I'm not necessarily going the usual route that people take in terms of when they're saying, "Oh, top 5 things you should do as a couple." Some of mine may sound a little out to lunch. Okay, some of the things I'm going to be sharing today may sound ridiculous to you, but take it as you see it, and God will explain the rest. Amen. Okay, so let us get right into it. If you can, make sure you share this, tell people that we're live, and let us go from there. Okay. First things first, budgeting couple. The very first thing you want to do when it comes to budgeting as a couple. So before we go into the nitty-gritty of what we have today, let me just put some preamble. Okay. The first preamble is if you're already married, this preamble is not necessarily for you. If you're not yet married, this preamble is for you. The very most important thing when it comes to budgeting as a couple, the most important thing is the person that you chose to budget with. Okay. So if you're not yet a couple, go. A word is enough for the wise. Use your head when you are picking your partner, okay? Shine your eye, okay? Ask questions. Don't love is not blind. I'll say that much. Love is definitely not blind. So please don't go into this with your eyes shut or with assumptions. Make sure you check your assumptions, ask questions, and you clarify your assumptions with your partner, okay? Because this person is going to be the one that, like your partner, your spouse, has the most influence when it comes to you financially. The most, okay? Even more than your children, okay? Because if you are someone that wants to save, for example, if you're someone that wants to that has already a financial plan and blah blah blah, and you have a partner that's not even on the same page with you, you're going to run into a lot of issues. Okay, but that's not the reason why we're here today. We're going to be talking about. I have 10 things here that we're going to talk about, so make sure you stick around and because I think each one is actually going to be a major blessing. Okay, so number one, when it comes to budgeting as a couple. The very first thing you want to know is that you should forget about everyone else. Okay. Another way of saying this is don't keep up with the Joneses. But when they say don't keep up with the Joneses, it seems like okay, let's leave that saying aside. My saying is forget about everyone else. Okay, because when it comes to personal finance, it is that personal. is personal finance. Okay, forget about what the Usmans are doing, what the Kendus, the Smiths, the Joneses, whoever else is in your circle that you are monitoring their life as monitoring spirit. Forget about what they're doing. Their journey is not your journey. Their own journey is their own journey. Your journey is your journey. Focus on your own household. Okay, keep the energy that you're using to focus on them. Take it and focus on your own household. Okay, don't look at what they're doing, what they're saying, how they're living. If they buy a car, not your business. If they buy a house, not your business. If they're sending their children to Switzerland for school, not your business. Focus on your own journey. It takes focus, not to compare. Because someone like for example, my husband and I were so busy on our own financial journey. We're not even paying attention to what people around us are doing. Do you understand? And again, obviously, we're not we see what people are doing, but it doesn't move us because we have our own plan, you know. And it happens, for example, let's one of our friends, they bought a car this week. Okay, that's how me too. I started looking at car. It happens. There's nothing wrong with that. However, you have your guardrails, you budget with those guardrails that says, sister, come back in line, come back to focus." Okay, so you always want to make sure that you keep track, that you don't get carried away with what everybody else is doing because it happens. There will always be somebody that's doing something, and you want to keep up. Okay, keeping up with the Kardashians and whoever else. Don't keep up with them. Focus on your own journey. Okay. Um, number two. Number two here says the goal is agreement and accountability. So one of the things you want to work towards as a couple is to agreement. Okay, in everything you do, the main work is to get to a place of agreement. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Like you can't be focusing on people's journey because you're going to need energy to be able to get to a place of agreement. And two work together except to agree. What you want to do is take, okay, for example, you have this plan, your partner has this plan. Okay, nothing wrong with that. Now the two of you bring your plans together and find a happy middle that works for the two of you. Okay, make sure you have budget meetings at the beginning of the month. Okay, and at the end of the month to plan, to review, and to make changes to the budget as necessary because things happen. Okay, like us, for example, July's budget is already ready. I've prepared it. My husband has access to the app that we use, so both of us have access to the budget. Both of us can review, both of us can edit. He leaves me to do all the editing and whatnot. He doesn't do anything. However, when we first started, and I had to get my husband to, see the benefits in this because I'm the one that handles the administrative side of the house. Okay? And my husband is just like, okay, well, you will just like leave it for me. I said, no, you can't do that. You have to make sure you're paying attention. You understand? Because what will happen is, and we're gonna get to that point later on in this life. Power corrupts. Okay, if you do everything, there will be you will not know when I'll fall for temptation for something else. So you have to make sure you're keeping track. You're paying attention as well. Don't just wait for one person. We'll get into some of those things as we go down um, the line. But here, the goal is to get to agreement. So when you make a budget, one person is not right and one person is not wrong. What you want to do is to get to a happy middle. Okay. Okay, this is important, that's important. Let's find a way to put it together. We must agree. Okay. And the work is to get into agreement. The work is not energy, that's where you spend the energy on getting into agreement. Okay. And then the other thing is accountability. Okay. Each person has access, each person can review, each person can edit. And the accountability comes from the part of you have to keep track of your expenses. Okay. So when you keep track of it in the sense of like as you budget, you're monitoring in and out each month, okay? And then you keep each other accountable. For example, we said we're going to spend 700 on groceries. We're currently at 850. What's happening? You understand? That's how you keep each other accountable. You ask those questions before things even happen. Okay, I want to spend this here. I want to spend that there. Okay, so you want to make sure as much as possible you are in agreement and that you keep each other accountable, not from a place of contention or from a place of wanting to prove that you're right or whatnot. It's more of hey, we said we're going to do this. Why are we not keeping to what we said we're going to do? Why are we not keeping to our word? Okay. So remember agreement and accountability when it comes to your budget. Okay. That's the goal. When it comes to the budget, you're trying to get the agreement and accountability. And it takes time. Okay. So maybe month one, you may not get it right. Month 2 months, 3 months, four, as you continue to explore your budget and as you continue to talk and have those communications and have those discussions and have those quote unquote arguments, you end up getting closer and closer together into what your ideals are. So don't give up. If it seems hard when you're budgeting, don't give up. Keep at it, and they will come to a part where you enter bliss. Okay. Um, the next thing, or point number three, is about being falseless, not faultless. What does this mean? So a lot of people try to pretend as if they don't have faults, right? All of us have faults. The best thing you can do is to own up to those faults. Okay. And when I say own up, like embrace it, own it. For example, if you're a spender, it's okay. There's nothing wrong in being a spender. Okay. Just own up to it. And of course, put boundaries in place to assist in your quote unquote weakness. Okay. So allow room for individuality where possible. So for example, in our budgets, I talk about this all the time. Excuse me. My husband, did not necessarily grow up here. He came to Canada as an adult. I moved here when I was a teenager. So I have a bit of both cultures in the sense of Niger culture and Canadian culture. Okay, so like going out to eat it's a cultural thing here. It just is. You understand? So when we started budgeting, my husband did not understand why I needed money in the budget to go out to eat. He just didn't get it. And I'm like, yeah, it's part of what we do. You understand? So again, it's not about being perfect, quote unquote. Okay, it's about okay, this is what I like, this is what I need in the budget. Okay, and be honest with each other about it. And again, get to agreement. Okay, don't let budgeting feel like a chore. It shouldn't feel like a chore. It's supposed to be a happy thing, whether you believe it or not. Budgeting is actually a lot of fun once you get into that rhythm and that groove. Okay, so make sure it's not about being faultless. Okay, so it's not about being faultless. Each of us has our faults. Just to thyself be true. Just don't be false about it. For example, if you're the kind of person you want to buy your coffee every day, there's nothing wrong with that. Just make sure there's room in the budget and adjust accordingly. Okay. You're the kind of person you like spending money on your children. There's nothing wrong with that. Just okay, instead of spending 1,000, maybe spend 300. You understand? So there's nothing wrong in having your individual quirks or your individualities or whatever it is. Just factor it into the budget. Okay. Because if you're only going to set yourself up for failure if you deny, yourself those things. Okay. And over time, as you evolve, so for example, someone like me, I used to have money in the budget for eating out. Now I found things that are more important to me. So I have no money in the budget for eating out, for example, this month, because there are other things I wanted to do this month with that money. Okay. So over time, as each person evolves and as each person matures and as each person changes over time, you find your priorities change. Because one of the things your budget will do is your budget will expose you to yourself. Okay, your budget will expose you to yourself. I had to give myself a lecture. When I looked, there was 1 month I looked and I said, "This is how much I spent on eating out. Hey, Jehovah, I need help." You understand? So, and again, it wasn't a ridiculous amount. It's just when I looked at some of the financial goals I have and some of the financial goals we have as a family, it just wasn't aligning. So my husband didn't even have to talk to me. It's me that talked to myself. Anyways, I'm sure I'll pass the message across. Okay. So face the truth and adjust accordingly. So don't be in denial. Just face it. Okay. Don't be false with yourself. Be straight. Okay. It's not about being perfect or being faultless. It's about being faultless. To thyself be true. Okay. In all things, not just finances. Okay. So when it comes to budgeting as a couple, one of the other things you definitely agree on is on giving amounts and amounts that you give to family or amounts that you use to help family. One thing I must point out here, and I've seen this thing a lot with a lot of couples, especially young couples, it's not a competition. Okay. And that's my next point, which says you are not competing. So for example, okay, let me not go into that because I'll put a pin in that one. I'll talk about it in a second. So when it comes to agreeing on giving amounts and amounts to help your family, I always recommend you aim for a fixed amount instead of variable. Don't let it be that they're always calling and saying, "Oh, we need this, we need that, we need this, we need." As much as possible, put them on a fixed plan. Okay, it helps you budget. So if, for example, you can only afford to send $50 a month, let everybody know I can only afford to send you 50. Mommy, daddy, I can only afford to send you $50 a month. Okay. Now you have an emergency fund in the sense of if something happens. Okay, someone like in our family, what we did was, so for example, my husband had health issues. Actually, today is his remembrance. It's 4 years since he passed away. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Okay. Um. Um. Whew, okay. I apologize. That caught me off guard. Um, so, where was I? Holy Spirit, help me. Yes. Fixed instead. terrible. Okay, so when he was alive, we used to do sent an amount each month to him. Okay, we had a fixed amount. However, we had a separate emergency fund because he had health issues. So we knew, for example, if they called from Nigeria now and something was happening, it was going to be an emergency. We may need to send X amount right away. Okay, so we were prepared for variable stuff, but we set them on a fixed plan. Okay, so that way we could budget properly. We didn't like the whole they just call you, and even on side too, you don't just call and say, "Oh, I need this amount, I need that amount." We have a fixed amount each month that is for helping family and that is for giving. Okay, and once that amount is done, it's done. However, we also had a separate amount for emergencies, emergency only. You understand? Your child needing school fees is no emergency. You knew your child was going back to school in September, and it is now August 31st, and you're calling that things are, that's not an emergency. Okay, an emergency is okay. Somebody fell down, broke their neck, and has to go to the hospital. That's an emergency. Okay, so as much as possible, you want to make sure, for the sake of the peace of mind of your family, okay, don't you're not the Messiah, you're not Jesus, you're not the Savior, okay? So you always want to be careful you don't enter into that Messiah complex, especially when it comes to helping family. Don't rob people of their agency, okay? Leave room for people's agency so you don't become an enabler. Okay. For example, if you're always bailing out your siblings or you're always bailing out, quote unquote other family members. You don't let's not go into that. But by the way, you again you want to make sure you leave room for people's agency. You don't want them to be relying on you because you are not their bank account. Okay. You have your family to take care of. You have to focus because it is well. You don't want a situation whereby your children will grow up. You've used all your money to help your siblings, help your family members, and your children are here. They have nothing to sit to inherit or sit back on. Okay, that's not good. So you definitely don't want to do that. Okay. Um, okay, next thing, you are not competing. That's the next point. So you are not competing. So, like I mentioned, I see this a lot with young couples. Okay, because you help family A does not mean you must help family B. Now, calm down. Wait, please be still. Let me land. Okay. For example, let's imagine face each person's family for what it is. Again, it's about being falseless. Like, let's look at the picture and say, okay, this is exactly what this family is facing. This is exactly what that family is facing. In the sense of, for example, let's say the husband's family, they're well to do, all the siblings are, standing on their own 2 feet, everybody is fine and whatnot. On the other side, the wife's family, the siblings, maybe they're not doing so well, the parents have a lot of health issues, for example, or the parents are aging and they just need stuff in general. They can't do as much as they could do before. Chances are, in that scenario, you may be helping the wife's family more than you're helping the husband's family. Okay. Now, if the husband or the spouse or the partner, whoever, is now saying, "Oh, you're not doing enough for my family," excuse me, let's say we're sending $1,000 to your family all the time, yet we don't send anything to my family. It's not a competition. Okay, if they don't need it, they don't need it. If you're taking an extra thousand to be sending to the husband's family for the same you are sending to the wife's family, you are robbing your own family of an extra $1,000. Okay, so change your perspective that way. Okay, in the sense of you're not. It's not a competition. You're only robbing yourself and your own family, like your current family. Okay, just because someone has something in the budget does not mean you have to have it too. So, for example, I mentioned how I had an amount in the budget for eating out. It's not eating out is not important to my husband. He doesn't care about it. But if he decided, no, me too, I want something in the budget for eating out because of this, he would have spending extra God knows how much for him to for no reason. You understand? And we'll be robbing our family of that money. Yeah, I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So you're not competing. Your family is a unit. Okay, as a couple, you are a unit. So you have to make sure you're not competing, going at each other because, oh, you're doing for one family here, and if they don't need it. Again, if they need it, it's different. Okay, both families need it, that's different. But don't turn it into a competition. Oh, we sent your mommy $300 last week, so we must send my mommy $300. If your mom does not need it, why are you sending it? Okay, now you've just robbed your own family unit of $300 that you could have used to take care of the children, pay off debts, invest for tomorrow, buy something that you need in the house. Okay, so if you look at it that way, it kind of changes things. So you are not competing. Next point, power corrupts. So This one is very important. Make sure you don't leave budgeting for just one person. Okay. Now, one person might be in charge of getting the budget ready, keeping track of the bank accounts, keeping track of, the debt, the investment, whatever. Whoever has the stronger talent or skill in that, sure, by all means. However, the other person cannot just sit back, relax, and say, oh, after all, this person has it handled. No, power. And again, it's not necessarily that the person may enter into pride or whatnot. It's more exposure you're leaving that person. Okay. So if you're going to say, okay, let's say the wife handles all the accounting and keeping track of expenses and blah blah blah, and the husband does not pay attention. You never know. You never know when temptation can occur. You understand? For example, I've seen so many situations whereby the wife is responsible for the finances. She went and opened 14 different credit cards and has racked up $90,000 in debt. And the husband is upset. Uncle, you are very much liable because you were not paying attention. It is both of your finances. You understand? How can you be there and your wife is able to run up $90,000 worth of debt? What were you doing? You understand? You were not paying attention or you were turning a blind eye. So that's what I'm saying. We need to keep each other accountable, okay? And accountable not from a place of condemnation or lording it over the person. No, it's more to help each other keep each other in check. You understand? If Adam and Eve were together, let's not go there. But imagine if they were together when the serpent came. Chances are they may not have fallen, but that's just speculation on my part. But that's what I'm trying to explain to you. It's very, very hard to fall for temptation when somebody else is going to keep you in check. You understand? So, for example, even if I want to go overboard when it comes to our budgeting, I trust the person I married. He will ask me 10 million questions. I'll be so upset. I'm like, oh gosh, why are you questioning me? How dare you question me? But it's our money. We got to answer questions to each other, okay? And vice versa too. You understand? Some investments that he's making, I'm like, Uncle, excuse, where did all this money go? How is it going? Keep each other accountable, okay? Power corrupts. Don't leave it for one person to handle all the finances. That's how people get in serious trouble. Someone will go and spend all your entire emergency fund on Bet Niger and you will not know. Don't do it. Make sure you keep each other accountable. Make sure you are checking in with whoever is handling the finances, okay? Don't leave each other open to temptation. We're supposed to be there to protect one another from our individual vices too, okay? You have every right to ask your spouse questions. Even if you're walking on eggshells, walk on the eggshell, let the eggshell break your leg and give you a cut. Walk on it and ask those questions. You should not be afraid to ask your spouse questions when it comes to their finances and vice versa. Especially if you're a couple that wants to be on the same page financially, yes. If you don't want to be on the same page, this conversation is likely not for you. But if you're people that you definitely want to get on the same page and do things together as a couple, you definitely want to make sure you're paying attention, okay? You are equally responsible. Even if you're not the one handling the day-to-day task of the finances, you should be paying attention. You should be asking questions. And the person that's handling it should be able to answer questions. If we agreed in the budget, we're spending 500 on groceries, okay? And when we look at, as we track the expenses, we are currently at $670. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, ma'am. What happened here? And feel free to answer. For example, when we first started, especially when inflation really started picking up, we noticed our grocery budget was we were not just able to click. And I kept telling my husband, we need to increase our grocery budget. These prices are not smiling. He's like, what are we buying? What is it that we're eating? I said, no problem. Because sometimes that's how you have to be wise, okay? I didn't argue. I was like, "Look, he wasn't getting it when I was trying to say it because I was the one doing the groceries and I was also the one managing the budget. So the next thing, what I did was I just sent him to the grocery store and all I did was I gave him this. I just happened to have an excuse not to go and I said, please, do you mind? Because we usually do groceries together, okay? But this time around, I let him go alone. When he went, he came back. He said, babe, I spent $80. I don't know what I bought. I said, Yoba, thank you. Because he just was not getting it. That grocery prices were ridiculous. He went to the store, spent over $80, and I think he came back with like 7 items. And he was just like, what is this? I was like, yeah, that's what I was telling you, that we need to adjust our grocery budget because these prices are silly, just plain stupid right now. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Like, don't be afraid to have those discussions. Don't be afraid to quote unquote get in each other's space. And not because you're just trying to be contentious or you're trying to fight. You're trying to get to agreement. You're trying to get to accountability. Because the two of you, right? You guys are the superhero of you. You are the superheroes of your story. Okay, you're the ones that are going to make it happen for your family, for your children, even for your extended family, as you continue to build and expand and evolve. Okay, so don't be afraid to have those conversations. Don't be afraid to go down those rabbit holes. Don't be afraid to really get it in. Okay, no pun intended. Um, Next point is what is important to you. So when it comes to budgeting and agreeing on your finances, this one is very important. So this is one thing that my husband and I do that really works for us. Okay. For big items, celebrations and the like, pick what's important to you, splurge on that and save on the rest. Okay. So for example, when we were getting married, we got a lot of advice and take out a loan to do wedding. Okay. Go and do, we got a lot of different things. We knew what we wanted. So what we sat down, we said, okay, the type of wedding we're going to have because of our families, we're going to have a bit of a large wedding. However, our budget cannot necessarily support a large wedding. But at the same time, we can't say we want to do a wedding of 20 people. We're Nigerian. It's just not happening. Okay. I mean, of course it can happen. We just don't want to do that. Okay. So what we sat down, we said was, okay, based on everything that is typically in a wedding, what is important to us? For example, my dress was very important to him. Okay. His outfit was very important to him. Both of us, we didn't really care about the venue. So we used the community center instead of a fancy hall. We could have gotten a fancy hall for much more money to quote unquote keep up with the Joneses, okay? But we did not do that, okay? If we wanted to keep up appearances, we could have, borrowed money and gotten a hall or gotten this or gotten that. No, we sat down and we said, what's important to us in this wedding? Okay, what's like the most important thing to us? So we splurged on the things that were important to us, and the rest we found a way to save completely. Okay. Another way is this, for example, like we just had a baby, right? A couple of months ago, um, 8 months ago. Okay. So one of the things when it comes to children, when it comes to baby stuff, everything at their aunt is expensive and it's pricey. So one of the things we said was, okay, based on all the list and all the things they say you are going to need, what's important to us? For example, the car seat was important to me, so I splurged on that. The stroller also important to me, I splurged on that. Clothes, not so much. Thankfully, a friend of mine, a wonderful friend of mine, shout out to you. She had a baby a year before me, and literally my son has been wearing the clothes that her son wore. Okay, because she has very good clothes. And I said, if you're not doing anything with them, by all means, pass it on. You understand? And I think I've spent, I don't think I've spent up to $200 on clothes yet. Okay, so find what's important to you, spend money on that, and then the rest, save on the rest. Okay, so again, it's not about being faultless. It's about being faultless. To yourself, be true. What is really important to you? Not what the world says should be important to you or what people say should be important to you. Okay. When it comes to your wedding, it's possible you don't care anything about, say the food. You don't have to spend too much money on that. Again, it's what's important to you. Okay. To you as a unit, as a family, as a couple. Excuse me. Okay. What else? Yes, so make sure you pick what's important to you, splurge on that, save the rest. I think this one is pretty self-explanatory when it comes to budgeting, okay? If, for example, the children having new clothes is important to you, but not having a brand new car is not that important to you, then spend money on that. Okay? Choose what you spend money on. Like figure out what you want as a couple and stop living other people's lives, okay? And go from there. The other thing you definitely want to do, and we're going to be wrapping up. I have two more points after this, and then we're going to wrap up because I wrote down 10 things. So you definitely don't want to miss the last one. It says this one here again, self-explanatory. Check your accounts every day. Okay, always know the state of your stock. Things should not catch you unawares, especially when it comes to your finances. Things should not catch you unawares, especially when it comes to your finances. Okay, except genuine emergencies. Genuine emergencies is you're driving on the road, your tire pops. Okay, that's an emergency. Okay, NSF fee should know that something is coming out of your bank account and be prepared accordingly. Okay, and that comes from paying attention, okay, and actually keeping track, like we mentioned. When you budget, you're keeping track of your expenses. Check your accounts every day. Nothing should be on your credit card that you do not know about. You should not be finding out 6 months down the line that, oh, someone put $300 on your credit card and you're just finding out. Okay. So you want to make sure you're checking it. Always know the state of your flock. Okay. Always, always know. NSF fees and the like should be foreign to you because you plan accordingly. Okay. You've told Roger to find out to do 200 from your account on Thursday. Make sure the money is there. Okay. So you definitely want to keep track of stuff like that. Excuse me. They shouldn't catch you unawares, okay? If the money that you plan to have for Rogers is not going to be there because something happened unforeseen, pick up the phone, call them and make an arrangement. I've said this in previous videos before. Don't wait for them to call you. Always call them and figure out a solution, okay? Check your account all the time. It's just part of being a responsible adult. It just is. You should always, it's the same way when you go to work, you check your email so you know what people are trying to tell you or give you in terms of communication at work. Your bank account is communicating, it's telling you things. Make sure you are listening. Okay. Um, Second to the last point is simplify. Okay. So one of the things we did that really, really worked for us, if you're one of those people, if your finances are currently overwhelming, check how many things you have open. For example, there are people that have 5 credit cards, 15 credit cards, 4 lines of credit, 5 checking accounts. Why? If they are doing something and it helps you and it's part of your plan, sure. Nothing wrong with that at all. If it's intentional, keyword intentional, excuse me, and you're using it for a purpose, sure. But if you're not, simplify your life. For example, why do you need to operate out of 17 bank accounts? You don't need that. You don't need that much. Okay. Again, find a way to simplify. If you're currently using 3 checking accounts to track things, why not streamline it to one account? Have everything go into one account, have everything come out of that one account. Okay. For example, in our family, we have 2 bank accounts. Okay, actually, we have 3. One is an active bank account in the sense of that's where the paychecks go into, that's where the expenses come out of. The next account is a high interest savings account. Okay, that's where our emergency fund is. You know, different things that we're planning when it comes to savings, they are all in that place and in that account. The third is one credit card. We share one credit card because it keeps us sane. We know everything is going inside this one credit card, and we know, okay, nothing, nobody, both of us don't have another credit card open anywhere else. Okay, so again, there's nothing wrong with having multiple credit cards open. That's not the point. The point is if you're finding things that are overwhelming, simplify, streamline it, bring it down. If you can only manage one bank account for now, use that one bank account and go from there. Okay, and you can continue to expand as you evolve and as you become more comfortable when it comes to your finances. But streamline, okay, as much as possible. Simplify, simplify, simplify. You want to turn this into like almost an automated process, and that really helps you get going in terms of just giving you some momentum overall. Okay, and last but not least, we're going to wrap up now. Last but not least is to check your programming. Okay, this one is very, very, very important. I kind of mentioned it at the beginning, but why are you doing the things you do? Why are you choosing to do the things you do? When I was mentioning about, pick what's important to you and move on from the rest. Sometimes you need to check your programming in the sense of if something is important to you. Is it really important to you, or is it important to you because social media or your favorite Instagram follow celebrity crush has said it's important to you? You understand? So you always want to check your programming before you start spending money and before you start making financial decisions. Okay, are you doing something because society expects you to? For example, I mentioned when it came to our wedding, there were certain expectations of us from a society perspective, but we did not go based on that. We did what worked for us as a couple. Okay. And that involves the two of you having each other's backs and holding each other's hands and being in agreement. Okay. So, for example, back home in Nigeria, you have a family of 5 can live in a 2-bedroom apartment comfortably. Maybe not comfortably, but they are living there and they are surviving and they are, thriving and having a good time and having a good life. You understand? Here, we've been programmed to think, oh, the moment you have one child or the moment you have 2 children, you must move into a 5, 6, 7 bedroom house. You understand? The concept of starter home, who started that? Why is a 3-bedroom house not enough to contain a family of 4? You understand? No, again, there's nothing wrong if you want to do what you want to do, so long as it's you that's wanting to do it and not what you've been pre-programmed to want. Okay? So that's what I'm saying. Check your programming. Nothing wrong if you want a 10-bedroom house. If you can afford it, why not? Do you? You understand? Nothing wrong with that at all. However, if you're wanting a 10-bedroom house because society has said you should get a 10-bedroom house, check your programming. Okay? A 3-bedroom house is considered a starter home in Canada. I don't understand who started starter home. I still don't understand that concept of starter home. You understand? Starter home that's working perfectly for you, the space works, and now you want to upgrade because they have said you need to move from starter home to a bigger house. Okay, check your programming. That's all I'm saying. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting a bigger house. Nothing wrong with heck. I want a bigger house right now. Okay, for different reasons because I feel our space is too small. But the point is, check your programming. Are you wanting it because everybody said you should want it, or because you really want it? Who is setting the start and finish line for you? Is it you or is it society, your parents, your siblings, whoever else? Okay. Do you have to drive a brand new car? Who says a car that's 4 years old, 5 years old is not going to do the exact same thing? Check your programming. For example, one of the programming that we have here in Canada is once a car is over 100,000 miles, it's going to give you problems. Says who? There are cars that are over 300,000 miles that are working perfectly for the owners. You understand? So long as the vehicle is well maintained, we have very good roads here. Chances that it's not going to give you that much problem. Again, check your programming. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Again, if you can afford it, no problem. But if you can't and you're trying to afford it or you're forcing yourself to afford it, check your programming. Always check your programming. When you're making financial decisions, check what's feeding this decision. Is it really me? Is it really what we want? Or is it what we've been told to want? Okay? Always check your programming. Anyways, that brings us to the end of today's session. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're new here, I go live every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern. I take your questions, your comments, as much as possible each Saturday. If you want to catch up, we have some videos, prior videos that we've done, for the weeks prior, um, on YouTube. Make sure you check them out. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Etienne, for joining us. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you next week. Thank you. Enjoy your weekend.